Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Catalyst webinar series presented by the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA. The Catalyst webinar series is a bi-weekly educational platform for creating success and change in your club and career. This week's presenter is Zeb Wellborn, author of The Social Golf Course and CEO and owner of 19th Hole Media, social media marketing for golf courses, #chat, and the Southern California Charity Golf Classic. Zeb Wellborn is also the owner of Wellborn Media. Share your passion, grow your business. He was the 2013 Chino Hills Business of the Year, the president-elect of the Chino Rotary Club, past chairman of the board for the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce, membership committee member for California Golf Course Owners Association. He's also an organizer of the Southern California Charity Golf Classic, and like I mentioned before, the author of The Social Golf Course. I want to thank Zeb for being with us this morning. Thank you very much, Zeb.
And thank you, John. I really appreciate you bringing me out here and talking about the Social Golf Course. So should I just go right ahead?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, great. So I'll give you a little bit of background about why I wrote the book, The Social Golf Course. So I actually got started doing social media for my hometown golf course, which is Los Ramos Country Club in Chino Hills, California. And I was doing it there for about a year, and they had a change in ownership, and the person who was in charge what he kind of told me at one point was, I don't understand this whole social media thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be around for a while, so Zeb, I think we need to part ways. And so that was kind of the impetus for me to kind of really go back and look at what we did for that particular golf course and analyze everything in terms of, how we're getting the word out, comparing it against radio, TV, other kind of outlets that you could send it to, and also just showing the results and demonstrating kind of what we were able to accomplish during that time there. So I wrote this book based off of that experience, and once I was let go at that course, I decided to kind of reach out to a couple of others. So I got a couple other golf course clients, and I started working with them. And so the book is kind of written with my experiences of those first three golf courses that I worked with. Since then, we're working with a lot of golf courses in Southern California, but I've got some across the country, one in Chicago and Illinois. And I met John Hakeem. So many of you probably know John Hakeem from greenskeeper.org. John Hakeem, he came on a podcast. I did this podcast called the Defining Success Podcast. So I interviewed John on there. We kind of hit it off, and we're talking about social strategy and how important it was for the future of golf. And so I kind of pitched him on the idea of writing this book called The Social Golf Course. He loved it, and so we collaborated on it together for about 6 months, I want to say, and we put it out and have distributed to the golf course industry, and trying to just spread the message on why social media is important for golf courses and how you can use social media to get golfers to play your course. So with that, I'll just kind of jump in and talk about what is the social golf course. And when I look at the world today, I used to be a high school history teacher back before I left teaching to start my own business. But when I think of history, I'm kind of like I feel like I can analyze trends and see where things are going. So the social golf course is, you have to have these three components to make it work. You have to have a social product, and golf is inherently social. So you get a chance to go out there, hang out with your buds. It's really easy to promote golf on the social media space. You also have to have exceptional customer service. So anybody who's experiencing your course, they have to know that it's a good experience. Social media works really well if the golfers that play your golf course have a great time while they're out there playing. And then you need to have this use of effective social media where you're not just, where you're being proactive and you're encouraging conversations, getting people to talk about it. When you do those three things, you're going to have this exponential word of mouth that happens at your course because people are talking on it not only online through the social media channels, but offline as well. And so we're kind of starting conversations to talk about your course in a variety of different ways. And anybody who knows that, the world that we're living in now the offline world and the online worlds are connected. They're no longer separate. They're not separate things that you can think of separately. They're kind of connected together. So if you have a really strong social media or online presence and the offline is not very good, you're not going to perform very well. Just like vice versa. If you have a really strong, really great golf course and you're not doing everything right in the online world, you're going to suffer as well. So it's kind of connecting the two, making sure that the two work together, and that's really what the social golf course is. So when I think of, so my family has this very long history in golf. My great-grandfather, he came to the United States from Scotland. He actually had a letter of recommendation from James Braid, and that was really the only thing that he brought with him when he came to the United States. He was a head golf club designer for McGregor, and that was on my mom's side. And my mom plays golf. My grandma played golf. And on my dad's side, my grandfather, he was the men's club president at Western Hills, which is a golf course in Chino Hills, California. And my dad's played golf his whole life. He wrote for Golf Extra when it was around, and the Southland Golf, and a bunch of other golf magazines. So he's a very well-known golf writer as well. So I have a lot of golf history in my family, and when I look back at like the glory days of golf, or when I kind of envision, I imagine my grandfather, you know, sitting at Western Hills Country Club. The clubhouse is full of people. It's got community leaders. It's got business leaders. It's got politicians, and they're all kind of congregating around the golf course. So like the golf course initially was the first kind of, not the first kind of social media, but it was a social media in its own sense, where everybody was kind of getting together to talk about social things that were going on in their communities, and they're doing it at the golf course. And that there's been a shift since then, where now that those conversations are taking place online. And I feel like what's happened is that the golf has had the ability to kind of hone in those conversations and focus those conversations around the golf course, and we've kind of given up that responsibility in some particular areas. So that's why I think it's so important that golf courses in particular grasp social media, because social media is very localized. You know, you have the ability to connect with people that are in your community, and they can focus around a particular passion, which is golf, which makes it really easy to promote and really easy to influence golfers to play more often at your course. So I wanted to tell a little story. So when I'm going to be going through this presentation, I'm kind of walking you through some of the chapters in the book. So this is one of the chapters. We call it the St. Andrews model, and we took a look. So like I mentioned, I was a history teacher, so I went back and did my research on, you know, social media and the history of golf and that kind of thing. And I looked back at one of the things that struck out to me was this twist between Prestwick and St. Andrews. And so we all think of St. Andrews as being the home of golf, but if you know anything about the Open, as they call it, or the British Open, is it actually started at Prestwick, and it was there for, I think, 11 years, and it was there for 11 years, and then it switched over to St. Andrews. And so we all say that St. Andrews is the home of golf, but when actually the Open first started at Prestwick. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, why that is. Why do we consider St. Andrews to be the home of golf? When we look back, and some of the writings that I was coming across, what they were saying about Prestwick is if you go to Prestwick, there's not much history there. There's not much people promoting the great events that have happened at the course. Whereas you go to St. Andrews and it's like a lifestyle. You know, it's just golf. There's lots of historical monuments around there. So they did a great job of marketing. So the people in the town of St. Andrews did a great job of marketing golf and promoting golf. And so the point being is that when you compare the two golf courses, the people of St. Andrews were proactive in promoting and supporting and making golf grow, and basically they kind of took golf and made it this worldwide thing, whereas on the Prestwick side they had a great, you know, it was just there and it was there, but they didn't really promote it, they didn't push it. And that's what social media gives us the opportunity to do. If we're, you know, promoters of the game, we're passionate about golf, we have to be using social media in order to get the word out, because that's the tool, that's the vehicle that people are looking at nowadays. So my request of you is to choose to be more like St. Andrews and promote golf as much as possible. I want to talk briefly. So this is so Johnny and I had a lot of conversations about, you know, golf in general and lots of things, and I just wanted to talk briefly about the pitfalls of the tee time wholesalers. And I know that many of you are are very familiar with the whole third-party tee times and that kind of stuff, so I won't go over this too much. But when you're reliant upon those avenues for golfers, it becomes tricky, because you're losing your customer relationship and you're losing that loyalty to your golf course. And so I've talked with a lot of golf course general managers, and they're all saying, you know, the loyalty is not around like it used to be for golf courses, and that there's a lot of people that will play different golf courses. But if you're opening up your course to those experiences, you're going to get into trouble, because you're going to be losing that customer loyalty, especially when it comes to collecting, you know, email addresses and your database. Is you're not capturing that data, you're not using that to promote them to play your course more often. They also then become dependent on the tee time wholesalers, and they're really the only way that you compete in that market, the way that Johnny and I kind of summed it up, is by price. You know, if you have the lowest price available on those things, those are the courses that tend to do well on those sites, and so you're really competing and just lowering your prices. And really what you want to do is set your golf course apart. And so you want to use, and social media is an opportunity. We call it a mulligan. It's an opportunity. I think when the tee time bookings came out, there's a lot of golf courses that could have taken that and done it in-house, and they didn't do it as quickly as they should have. So there's these opportunities came up for these other businesses who took advantage and did a very good job with their business model and made a lot of money along the way. Social media provides these golf courses an opportunity to kind of take back their golfers and become successful on their own terms. So social media is changing our economy. And as I mentioned, you know, from my history background, I kind of look at the way things operate. So it used to be, so we're kind of shifting from this mass media age where everything was coming from TV, it was coming from radio, and so all the information that we're getting is coming from these mass media outlets. You know, Mad Men is a good example, where they were the ones that were kind of pitching the messages everywhere. Today, it's changing, and it's changing drastically, and it's kind of shifting back to the way it was of old, is that we're localizing economies. So the way that we're getting our information now is not from these outlets. The way that we're getting information is from our local family, friends, the people that we know. And so that's one thing that's important, why it's so important for golf courses to start to use social media effectively, is because this shift to social media is localizing our economy. We're no longer getting our messages from those big outlets. We're getting our messages from our family and friends. And so if we can start pushing golf, and our family or friends becomes part of the vernacular or part of the common conversation, golf is going to be better off. Your customer now has a voice, which they didn't have before the age of the internet. You know, you think of review sites like Yelp, I guess Golf Advisor would be one, greenskeeper.org would be another. So your customer has a voice in these different outlets, which you didn't have before. So if you had a bad experience at a golf course, there wasn't really an outlet for golfers to let people know. That's not the case anymore. So your golfer now has a voice, which means that it's more important than ever to be proactive on your social channels. I'm going to talk a little bit later about reputation management, but one of the worst things that you can do if somebody says something bad about your golf course online is ignore it. So there's so many opportunities where you can leverage those conversations into positive interactions at your golf course. There's also a shift in terms of push versus pull marketing. So what I see a lot of golf courses doing is they're pushing out messages, meaning it's like an advertisement, and they're putting an ad out there for people to see. So it's like, you know, special rate $29 for this week or for this weekday golf round. And when you start pushing out those messages, it's not very social. It's not getting people to interact. It's not getting people to have conversation. And what you'll find, if you're using those messages, you'll find that those get very little engagement, and Facebook and the social media channels, they hate that. They want to see posts that get engagement. So they'll make sure that your posts actually show up less because they're getting less engagement. So if you want to start marketing in the right way in this social media economy, your advertising messages need to be social, meaning they need to get your golfers engaged in the ad itself. And so you need to make it look like it's not an ad. we're very good. So we're in today, like today, we are very good at identifying advertisements. So I don't know about you guys, but when I watch TV at home, I don't ever watch anything live. I'll always record it on my DVR. I'll wait about a half an hour, and then I'll watch it so that therefore I can skip through the commercials. I don't have to watch any commercials, which is great. And when it comes to emails, I think all of us almost immediately know which emails are emails that are sent to us that we should open versus emails which are spam, which are emails that don't need to be opened. So we're automatically filtering out all of these sales messages. So what I see a lot of golf courses when they do social media, most of the time they're not doing it well because they're just advertising. They're just putting these advertisements out on the page, and that does not speak to engagement, and therefore it doesn't perform well on social channels, and people pick up on it right away. So you just see people swiping right through it and not even looking at those. And then I already mentioned about the localizing of our economy, but I think I'll elaborate on a little bit. Is that with social media now, the influences on, like, I'll give you an example. So I'm involved in my Chamber of Commerce. I think John mentioned at the beginning that I was the past chairman of the board. And so while I was there, I had all of these other members that were there, and so I'm posting social media golf every chance I get. So anytime I play, I'm posting pictures of me on the course. Anytime I'm out visiting a course, I'm posting pictures everywhere. And so my family and friends, the people who are connected to me most, become more and more interested in golf. And I can say without a doubt that I've probably had about 20 people that are involved in the Cheeto Valley Chamber of Commerce who either hadn't ever played golf or who maybe had picked up a golf club, hadn't picked up a golf club in the last 10 years or so. They went out and started playing because their family and friends, which is AKA me, somebody who's putting out golf messages constantly on their social media feeds, they start playing golf as a result. And so that's what we really need to start doing, is we need to start building these advocates. And the way that we do that is by showing a good example at our golf course and getting us to be posting on our social media channels so that your golfers will start posting on your social media channels, and we'll get more people out there playing golf. So let's see here. So the golf niche, and this is why. So golf is perfect for social media. I once had a conversation with somebody who was telling me that, you know, golf is for old people. They're not on social media, and it's not gonna work. And like, I didn't really understand it when I heard that, just because golf is such a social game that it has so much opportunity to get together. And also, just so that you all know, that your golfers are on social media. There's tons of statistics that have come out that are saying that I don't know the exact percentages, but it's above 90% of golfers are on social media. And the fastest growing demographic is the 55 and older crowd across the board on all the social media channels. And so your golfers are on social media. And the way that each kind of platform starts out is it starts out with the kids. The kids get on it. The parents want to see what their kids are up to, so they get on it. And then the grandparents get on because they want to see what the grandkids are up to. And then once they get in there, they start connecting with the things that they're interested in. You know, they start to, oh, this is kind of cool, and they start using it. And I will tell you what, that predominantly on all of the social pages that we're using is the largest demographic is definitely the 55 and older for the golf niche. And when you look at social media, is that social media is word of mouth on steroids. So when there's that common saying that says, if you're happy with an experience, you tell one person. If you're unhappy, you tell 10. Well, when it comes to social media now, if you're happy with an experience, you tell all of your friends who are connected with you on Facebook, just as well as if you're unhappy with the experience, you'll tell all your friends. So now whenever anybody has an experience at your golf course, they can easily post it, and it goes out to their friends. The average person in Southern California, and when he wrote the book, so this was about 2 or 3 years ago, the average Southern California person was connected to 550 people through their social channels. So every time somebody posts something, you've got to think that that's how many people it's reaching. If you have an influencer like myself, like I probably have close to 100,000 people that are connected to me through my various social media channels, when I'm posting at a golf course, is that message goes out to 100,000 people. And so you have opportunities to reach a lot of people through these marketing channels today, which you didn't before. And if you start to cultivate a social strategy or cultivate social awareness, you're going to reap the benefits of word of mouth. And so it really is word of mouth on steroids. It gives you an opportunity. It also gives you an opportunity to identify your ambassadors. So the people who are talking about you online. One of the big advantages of being active on social media is you can say, hey, like just, you know, one of our client courses is Arroyo Trabuco, and I'll give you an example. There was a guy who was shooting lots of pictures. So every time he played the course, he loved it, and he would always send a Facebook message, say, hey, I played your course today. Such an awesome experience. And he was taking these really great photos. And so I kind of reached out to him and said, hey, you know, these are some great photos you're taking. Why don't we take you out on the course and just chat? And so we took him out to the golf course. We played around the golf and talked about what he could do. And so since then, he comes out. He's coming out multiple times a week, and he's just visiting the course and taking photos on the course. He bought a drone so that he can take drone footage of the course, and he's doing it all for free for this golf course because we're able to identify him as an ambassador and say, hey, this is pretty cool what you're doing. You know, let's keep doing it. And he loves it. He loves the fact he gets an opportunity to go out and shoot some footage that he kind of told me once that he just obsesses over that. He kind of thinks about it all the time and just shooting different shots and getting the drone up there and doing other things. So it's been a really cool experience having him involved. And that's just one example. There's been tons of other stories. At Los Serranos, there's another guy who he just loves shooting pictures of the course. So he'll go into the clubhouse. Like there's the Easter brunch that they just had. So he took a whole bunch of photos at the Easter brunch, and then we shared on our social channels. He did the same thing. He actually had his 50th wedding anniversary at the golf course, and so he shared all the photos from his 50th wedding anniversary, and it's been a really good experience with him as well. So what golf courses really need to do is they need to leverage their golf experience to reach out to new golfers. They need to invest their golfers. They need to build loyalty with their golfers, and you can do it so easily when you do social media right. And so it's so important for golf courses, especially because like all these social media channels are very visual platforms, and golf, you can't get more visually appealing than golf. So the fact that we're able to do that is great. So this is the common question I get. Well, what's the ROI on social media? How can being social increase your profits? And so I'll talk about a few things, and I mentioned this already, but your golfers are using social media. So when I don't really get this question anymore, but when I first started talking to golf courses about using social media, they're like, well, my golfers aren't using social media, you know. And oftentimes it's because the general manager or whoever's in charge, they're too busy to use social media themselves. They might have an account to kind of check on their kids, but they're kind of too busy to use it themselves. But their golfers are, and their golfers are using it, and they're using it heavily. So now, like I mentioned, there's statistics that show it, and if anybody's interested in those precise ones, I can pull that up and send that out in an email too. But your golfers are using social media. So the next thing was that social media outperforms newspaper, radio, and TV. So when we wrote the book, we did this study on comparing like cost per 1,000 impressions. And so we did it with I think like a golf magazine. So a golf magazine is not, it's targeted in terms of it's reaching golfers, but it was reaching golfers from I think it was Santa Barbara down to San Diego and everything in between. And so it's not very targeted when it comes to a local audience. So to get an advertisement in there, it costs you about a little over $12 to reach 1,000 people. A local newspaper, we did the same thing. So the local newspaper, it's targeted in terms of demographics, so it was kind of covering the city, but it wasn't targeted when it came to like golfers, you know, their interests. And so it was charging about $3.86 something for advertisements that were going to newspapers per 1,000. Social media, the ones that we were doing, it was under $1. It was under $1 to reach 1,000. In addition, it's highly targeted. So we're targeting golfers who live within a 30-mile radius of the golf course. In addition to that is when you're looking at a magazine or you're looking at a newspaper, there's no opportunities for engagement. It's either they take action when they look at that ad or they don't. When it comes to social media is they can comment on those posts and we can have a conversation with those people through the social channels. They can see social proof. They can see that other people are commenting, liking, and sharing those posts where they can't see that when you're looking at an ad in a magazine or newspaper. So instead of just one touch point, and in addition to that is it shows up multiple times often in people's news feeds. So instead of just showing up once and then disappearing and either they take action or they don't, you can show up multiple times by people that are commenting on the posts in terms of people's news feeds, and you can have conversations with people that are interested in your posts. And so there's so many more advantages to using social media over those other advertising outlets. So I think, many golf courses I know are realizing that, but I just kind of wanted to mention that as well. It also, you can encourage your golfers to play more often using social media. So your regular golfers, those are, I told you the two examples before, but your regular golfers are the perfect ones. There's another lady that I think we wrote this in the book. It was a young golfer. So she came out to the golf course and she did play at the course, but she didn't play very often. You know, she's a junior golfer and working hard on her game. And so we started promoting her on our social channels. So we got a request from the mom to say, hey, why don't you post more stuff with the juniors? So we said, yeah, absolutely, we'll do that. So we went to the junior classes, we took some pictures, and one of the pictures we took was of her daughter. We shared that on social media. The mom was thrilled, the daughter was thrilled, and then she kind of took up this kind of passion for the game, and she became one of the best junior golfers in the area. And I'm not saying that all came from our social media posts, but it definitely contributed to it. And so and I've seen that time and time again where we've got these golfers who are excited. They maybe have played the course once or twice, and then, or a handful of times, and then we get them to become regulars. We get them to become loyal golfers, and that's what you want. You want people to play your golf course multiple times a week, and that's what we do. You can target golfers in your area. So you can target, like I mentioned, you have a 30-mile radius of people that you can target through your golf course. You can target them. You can target, there's a whole bunch of different features that you can target. So it's oftentimes when I'm running advertisements for our Facebook pages, we'll run an ad within 30 miles of the golf course targeting golfers. But just as easily, we can run an ad, so like many golf courses have a wedding venue. So just as easily, we can switch those advertisements so we can do a post about a wedding, and we can target people who live within a 50 miles radius of that venue and who are engaged. You know, we can target people based off of a whole bunch of different factors inside of the Facebook advertising features. And then my favorite thing about social media is it helps you build a better business. When you get feedback from your customers, it's like having a focus group. It's like having your own active focus group. And when it comes to ratings and review sites and all these other things, is the worst thing that could happen for you or your golf course is that somebody comes to your course, they have a bad experience, they don't say anything, they just leave and say, I'm never going back there again. What you want is you want feedback. You want people to tell you like what's going wrong at your golf course, because it gives you an opportunity to fix those issues. And social media is like your perfect focus group tool. It's a way that you can see exactly what is going on at your golf course, so you can work to fix those issues. And so oftentimes, you know, the idea being, well, let's ignore it, let's not do anything about it, and what you'll find is that you'll end up pissing off golfers that way, and they'll leave and not tell you why they're leaving. And if you're monitoring your social media presence, you can get a feel for what golfers are thinking when they're playing your course, and you can correct any issues you might have. You know, one of the big things I think is with when you aerate. When you aerate, oftentimes at some courses they don't post that, so you show up at the course, it's aerated, they're charging you the full price, they're not letting you know that it's aerated, then you go out there and play, and it's a bad experience overall. So I hear it all the time where they just say, well, I'm never going to go back to that golf course again. They don't say that. They don't go into the pro shop and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to play your course again because of that. But now you know, because they're kind of posting those things on the social channels. So here I wanted to go through some ideas. So these are some things that you can take back and And when we work with golf courses, I'm talking about social media here today and how to think socially, but we do write blog posts to help have your website show up in the search engines. We do email marketing, so we'll send out emails. And so this macro content is kind of like content you would think about putting on your website as a blog post, or you would think about putting in an email that you're sending out to your email list. So one of my favorite things to do is like a 19th hole story. I think everybody has, all of your golfers, if you walk around, they have a 19th hole story to share. And this is something that plays really well in a social context to get people talking about your golf course. I'll give you an example. My dad, I came home, I stopped by my parents' house yesterday, and he plays golf at Los Serranos weekly. And he was telling me about this guy who, since January, he has 3 hole-in-ones at their golf course. He scored 2 hole-in-ones on the same hole, and then he had one more, and he had another one in between that experience. So in the last 6 months, he's had 3 hole-in-ones at the course. And so that's a perfect thing that you would share on social media, saying, here's the thing, and that's something that would get picked up on PR circles and get the message out there. We had another golf course that we were working with in New Jersey where they had the same golfer got, I think, was it the same? No, it was on the same hole, 2 golfers got a hole-in-one, and so they're in the same foursome, and they got hole-in-ones together, which the odds of that are like astronomical. And so we wrote that up for that golf course. It got picked up by the local news programs, and so they ran with that and got a lot of extra publicity for the golf course. You can talk about your membership programs. Anybody does get a hole-in-one, that's definitely good fodder for blog posts and emails. You can give tips and lessons. You can go over the departments. Becoming a pro, like highlighting your professionals, especially your young professionals, like what it takes to become a professional golfer and follow along that journey. That's something that would go really well on a macro content. You can highlight one of your golfers, the golfer spotlight. We did that in Los Serranos, where there's a young up-and-coming golfer who was going on to play in the Canadian Tour, and so we wrote about him and how he got involved in the game. And so now he's like the golf course celebrity, like everybody knows him because we send it out to their email list, and that's going to make him more loyal to the golf course, but that's also going to make your golfers feel like they know somebody at the course. And if you've ever, you watch Cheers, where everybody knows your name, that's often a place where you want to go, where you feel like you know everybody, and you can say, hey, if I go to Los Serranos, which is kind of my home course, I'm walking around that clubhouse, you're seeing everybody, and it just makes the experience that much better. You can highlight a foursome of your golfers, like if you have a regular foursome that comes out every Saturday, those are the perfect people to kind of highlight them. How did you guys get together? Why did you guys start playing together? And then put that out there. You can interview people. It could be golfers. It could be golf industry insiders. Like there's a guy that I know that does the golf boards, and so interviewing him about if you're thinking of getting a golf board at your golf course, interviewing him and what they could do with the golf board at your course. You can have people write on your page. Like I mentioned, we had the guy who was taking pictures of his 50th wedding anniversary, and he's mentioned multiple times he'd be happy to write these kind of posts to go on our website to talk about his experience playing the golf course. And then you can promote tournaments. One of the big advantages, I think, of this, like this is something that I would totally implement if I were running golf courses, is you have these large tournaments that play your course, and so offer to promote their tournaments on your website. Offer to promote their tournaments through your email list, and that will help with securing more tournaments because they'll see that you're proactive in promoting events. Like if John also mentioned this at the beginning, that I organize my own charity golf tournament, and so I would love to have the golf courses I'm working with promote my golf tournament to their email list, to their golfers, get more people involved in my golf tournament and supporting the charities that we support. So this is a great way to retain golfers, and it's also a great way to let other tournaments know, or potential tournaments know, that you're not just going to host their tournament, you're going to actively promote their cause as well. And then micro content, this is the stuff that goes on Facebook or Twitter pages or Instagram accounts. My favorite thing to do is I love to ask questions. So questions encourage engagement. And so by asking questions, you're getting your golfers to engage. I'll tell you a couple of the favorite posts that I like to do on social media. And this is one that's guaranteed to work without fail. So if you want to jot this down and try it out for yourself, feel free to do so. If you take a picture at your par 3 and you take it from the tee box, you put it towards the green, a nice picture, a good quality picture, and then you post something that says, like let's say from the white tees, it's 163 yards to the pin. The pin is in the middle of the green, there's no wind. What club is in your hands? And what you're doing, you post, and some people say, well, what's the point of that? Why do we do that? Well, what you're doing is you're putting a golf club and you're putting a virtual golf club in people's hands, and they're imagining what they would hit in that particular spot. And every time I've done that post, you're getting 40, 50, 60 people engaging in it, commenting on it, saying what club they would have in their hands. And when you have those people engaging in question, that gives you an opportunity to engage back and to, somebody will say, oh, it's 160, I'm hitting a pitching wedge, and then you're commenting back, wow, that's a heavy pitching wedge, or whatever. And so you get a chance to start these conversations with people and endear them to your course. You also want to, so all of these social media platforms are very visual, so you definitely want to include photos, videos as much as possible. One of the things that I see golf courses doing wrong, however, is they're posting flyers. And remember, if it looks like an advertisement, it's very easy to filter through. So make sure that your posts don't look like flyers. Make sure they're photos of your course. The reason why people are following you and they're not following the PGA, so like other courses, they might be posting things about the PGA or what's going on in the golf world, or they'll post these funny little golf cartoons or golf photos. The reasons why those don't work too well is because the reason why people are following you is because they want to know what's going on at your golf course. They want to know what the conditions are. They want to know what the course looks like. They want to get involved with other people at the golf course, and so give them opportunities to do that. I'll talk about this briefly, but social media doesn't have to be a one-person job. You can get your entire team on it. So if I were managing a golf course, I would have, once a week, I would have each one of my departments take a picture of something that they were working on. So golfers, they love to know what's going on at the golf course. So if there's like revamping a green, you're making something better, you're filling the sands with bunkers, whatever it is, if you start posting on your social media channels, you'll see golfers a lot more engaged in there because they love to see what's going on at the golf course, especially golf course improvement projects. You can talk about, from a management perspective, things that you're going through. The golf shop can give brief video tips to your golfers. Like I mentioned, promoting tournaments, that kind of stuff is all good things to do too. And you can even train if you have cart attendants that travel, or beverage cart that travel around the golf course, you can encourage them to take pictures of golfers out on the golf course, which would be a great opportunity too. On the reputation management side, there's things that you want to do. There's positive and negative reviews. You want to respond to both. Negative reviews, my advice would be to take negative reviews offline. So if somebody posts negative reviews, say, hey, I understand you had a bad experience in our course. I'd love to talk with you more about it. Here's my phone number. Here's my email address. Give me a call and we'll work it out. And you don't have to, oftentimes you hear people say, oh, give them a free round of golf or do whatever. You don't have to do that. What they really want to do is be understood. And so if you sit down there and chat with them about it, oftentimes you'll see them change those negative reviews to positive ones. And even if they don't, at least you get an understanding of where they're coming from. On the positive side, the reason why you want to respond to positive comments is because those are the ones people look at the most. And so what people, when they're looking at review sites, if they see that they have a proactive management that is responding to positive and negative reviews, they're going to be excited about it. And also the reason why they're posting, if you respond to positive reviews, you're going to encourage more people to leave positive reviews too. Here's a side-by-side example of a good post versus one that could be improved. So the one on the left, there's a guy that gets a hole-in-one. So they post a picture of a scorecard. They post a picture of him. It's kind of cut off his head, but if you were to see this in your news feed, you would see the whole thing. So they have the hole-in-one on the left. You see that it reaches a lot of people. 121 people liked the post. There's 5 comments associated with it. And so you're getting people talking about this hole-in-one. So this guy becomes a local celebrity at the golf course. The one on the right is a flyer promotion. Check out our excellent weekend rates. Book now, so it's a sales, it's advertisement. And you see there it has 1 like. So when you're comparing the two, you're getting 121 people engaged with this post. You're getting 2,711 people seeing it versus the one on the right. I would imagine that they have less than 100 people seeing that post because it's not getting engaged, and you have one person that likes it. So that's kind of the end of the presentation that I plan on going through. I think we should open this up for questions. I also want to throw this out there. If you did want a copy of the social golf course, I'm happy to give it to you for free. Just email it to me, and I will send out copies of your book. If you're in Southern California, which you guys are, I'd be happy to come and visit you with you as well. I'm also planning on doing something new, which is a social strategy assessment. So this is, I'd like to look at your course top to bottom, give you like your feedback on how well you're doing on social media across channels, not just social media, but your email marketing campaigns, your online strategies. So I will do that, and I'm planning on charging $500, but just for today, since I haven't done this yet, I wanted to get some experience under my belt, so I'd do it for free if any of you were interested. Thank you for listening today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about social media marketing or golf course marketing.
Zeb, that was phenomenal. I do have a couple questions here. In terms of the when you're contracted for a golf course, can you give kind of a 30,000-foot overview level of what you actually do and how you go about doing it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that we do when we work with golf courses. So we'll take over the posting. So we take over your social media posting, and depending on what you want. So all our plans are custom design plans. We come up with what makes sense for you and your golf course. Most of the golf courses today are hiring us to do blog writing so that they show up higher in the search engines. Through their email marketing campaigns, so we send out emails to their email list, which are sales emails, so that we're trying to get action taken. We do advertising on Facebook, so we're reaching a target audience of people who live within 30 miles of your golf course. We do advertising on Google, so we'll do Google keywords. If they're typing in, like, let's say you're in San Diego area, we'll type, San Diego golf would be a keyword that we'd go after, and so we're targeting people who are typing in the word San Diego golf. And then lastly, we'll do something called remarketing campaigns, which if you've ever tried to buy something online and then you kind of see those ads of the things you're trying to buy online follow you around the internet, that's something that we can also do. So it works really well when you have a special event. So like, let's say Easter brunch is coming up. And so what we can do is we can send an ad to anybody who's visited your website. The way that works is you put a little code on your website, and then it kind of follows them around the internet. So they'll see ads as they're going to, ESPN, or they're going to Yahoo Sports or whatever. They'll see those ads pop up that are saying, hey, our Easter brunch is coming up this Saturday, or any kind of initiative you want, or your membership program, whatever it might be. So those are kind of the things that we do. We always do it with a focus on ROI as well. So we're trying to, there's something that we created, which I don't know if the word's proprietary, but something that I don't think anybody else is doing, where we set up a tracking system to monitor the customer journey. So we're talking about, so we look at the awareness, how many people we're making aware of the product. We work on engagement, subscriptions to your email list, subscriptions to your social media channels. We look at conversions. And then beyond that, we're looking at people who convert again. We're looking at building loyalty members. We're looking at getting people to leave ratings and reviews on reviews websites. So there's this whole customer journey that we've created that we try to work with golf courses to improve their customer journey, to improve their sales, to get more golfers playing golf, and to get them playing more often.
In terms of private equity clubs, any specific direction that should go in that's grossly different from the public arena?
Well, with private clubs, you have a really big opportunity to get your golfers involved in the whole social strategy. So, I mean, if I were in charge of one of those courses, I would sit down with, have like a meeting with the golfers that play our course and say, we want to promote the course. We want to get as much involvement from our community as well. And so when you please take pictures out on our golf course. We want to Take pictures on our course, share it on your social media channels. Let us know what's going on in the golf course. Come up with a hashtag that golfers, so for those of you that don't know, a hashtag is just kind of a way that you can easily search for something. So come up with a hashtag for your golf course that your golfers can use and put on your social channels. All the same rules basically apply. It's just getting, I would try to get your golfers to get in the habit of promoting your course. Because I know a lot of, especially private equity clubs, are kind of struggling for members. So that would be a really easy way to promote your course and not have you be the one promoting it. It's your golfers, and there's no better way to promote your golf course than by having your golfers do it.
Now, you alluded a little bit to posting course conditions on social media or posting in general. Do you have a general consensus opinion on whether course maintenance practices like aerification should be publicized or not publicized and kind of dealt with at the ground level, or what's your take on that?
I'll tell you what I would do, but this, I mean, I guess this is what I would do. What I would do is I would lower the rates for the times that you're doing aerifications. I would put an advertisement out there which shows a picture of the aerated greens and say, we're aerating the greens. We're going to offer a cheaper rate for the next 3 days because we're aerating the greens. So this is your opportunity to play our golf course for less. And so for the period of time that you have your aeration going on, you're charging less, and maybe I know that when you aerate, the greens do get a little bit better over time. So maybe start off where it's in the worst shape and the lowest price, and then you raise the price 5 days after that each day until you get back to your normal price range. So that's what I would do. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, though, but I would definitely recommend letting your golfers know as much as you can that you are aerating, so that they don't feel duped.
I know that's always a tough one, particularly with our property here, but those are all the questions that I have. I want to thank you, Zeb, for your time today. Very enlightening presentation, and a lot of gratitude from the Education Committee for your time and efforts in putting that together. For all the attendees, the quiz will be going out here momentarily, along with the YouTube link and the recording of this morning's presentation that you could use for reference. Also want to remind everybody of the next Catalyst webinar series, which is on May 25th with Mark Connerly from the California Golf Commission on creating a sustainable funding source for golf's major challenges. Zeb, again, thank you very, very much for your time today, and everybody on the call, thank you very, very much for attending. Have a great day.